silence is more than the absence of sound. It is a state of mind, a discipline, and a deliberate practice that the Stoics understood as essential for self-mastery. In a world where noise dominates, silence has become a rare skill. Ancient Stoics sought moments of quiet, not for withdrawal from life, but to sharpen the mind and focus the will. They recognized that silence trains the inner voice, clarifies thought, and strengthens the ability to act with intention. In the constant rush of communication, every message, opinion, and reaction seeks our attention. This creates a state of mental fragmentation. Silence allows the mind to gather itself. It becomes a container where thoughts settle and clarity emerges. The Stoics taught that we cannot command ourselves if we are unable to listen to ourselves. Silence is not passive. It is the active choice to create space where reason can operate without interference. This practice does not demand isolation from society. The Stoic lives within the city, participates in duties, and interacts with others. Yet within all this, they protect moments of stillness. This is where self-awareness grows. This is where the difference between impulse and deliberate action becomes clear. The Stoic who embraces silence gains the strength to respond with precision rather than with noise. We will examine the Stoic view of silence as a discipline, its role in building character, and how to integrate it into daily life. Through this, silence becomes a powerful tool for inner stability, decision-making, and the command of one's own mind. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Silence as a teacher. The Stoics saw silence as an active instructor. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the value of retreating into oneself, even in the midst of chaos, to examine one's own mind. In silence, the noise of others fades, and the truth of your own reasoning becomes audible. This is where you meet your real thoughts, unfiltered by reaction, stripped of performance. In conversation, silence allows listening to deepen and take root in ways that few other practices can achieve. It prevents the rush to judgment or to speech driven by ego, vanity, habit, or the desire to fill every gap with sound. By withholding immediate responses, you give your mind the time to assess what is being said in full, to weigh tone, context, and intent with care. You observe not only the words themselves, but also the emotion behind them, the pauses that reveal hesitation or emphasis, and the patterns between them that speak to unspoken motives. This extended form of listening builds patience, sharpens perception, and develops the ability to respond with care rather than impulse. The Stoics saw this as a mark of wisdom because it strengthens both discernment and composure, allowing each word you eventually choose to have greater weight. Silence also teaches you about control at a deep level, showing you the strength that comes from restraint. The urge to speak, especially when defending your pride, proving your knowledge, or asserting dominance, can be powerful and persistent. Resisting it is an exercise in willpower that trains the mind to master itself under pressure. Each time you choose silence over unnecessary speech, you reinforce the habit of measured action, conserve mental energy, and prevent yourself from committing to words that cannot be withdrawn. Epictetus advised, speaking only when your words improve the silence, a standard that demands constant self-awareness, humility, and discipline. Holding to it over time refines your judgment, steadies your presence, and communicates a quiet confidence that needs no constant verbal proof. In daily life, silence can be woven into multiple layers of routine until it becomes a stabilizing force. Begin the day without external input so that your own thoughts rise before the noise of the world competes for your attention. Avoid filling every pause with conversation, devices, or media. Let certain moments remain open, allowing the mind to process events and ideas without intrusion. Seek quiet when walking, traveling, or moving between tasks. using these intervals as opportunities to recenter yourself. Introduce brief, intentional pauses before speaking in meetings or personal exchanges. In time, silence will stop feeling like emptiness or absence and will instead become a source of restoration, strength, and mental clarity. This habit gives you the steadiness to meet each demand of the day with a deliberate mind and the ability to carry an inner stillness even when the world around you is loud. Silence is not only an act of self-control, but a consistent form of self-training that reshapes how the mind and emotions operate together. Each moment of withheld speech builds a reserve of composure, strengthening your ability to remain steady in uncertainty. The urge to speak is often tied to the need for recognition or the discomfort of unexpressed thought. By refraining, you train yourself to endure these impulses without giving in to them, proving to yourself that you do not need to seek validation in every moment. Over time, this restraint develops into a form of mental armor, allowing you to handle tension, disagreement, and unpredictability with calm determination. To strengthen this habit, begin by identifying the specific triggers that provoke unnecessary speech. Notice if certain people, situations, or topics pull words out of you without thought. By becoming aware of these moments, you create the ability to interrupt them with intentional silence. This is not the silence of absence, but the silence of presence, the kind where you are fully engaged, listening and observing without rushing to respond. With repetition, the distance between thought and speech grows, and within that space, reason can take root. In the structure of daily life, silence can be approached in layers. Morning quiet can become a time to organize thoughts before the day's noise arrives. Midday pauses, even for a few minutes, can help reset the mind before new challenges. Evening reflection in silence can bring closure and insight, ensuring that each day is processed before the next begins. These rituals compound in value, creating a rhythm where your mental state is consistently refreshed. Silence can also be applied during movement. Walking without headphones, traveling without constant conversation, or pausing between destinations can turn ordinary moments into periods of restoration. In work settings, silence before speaking in meetings gives weight to your words and shows intentionality. In personal relationships, listening in silence allows others to feel heard without the interruption of your own narrative. With enough practice, silence becomes more than a habit. It becomes a state of readiness. You carry it into every situation, knowing that you can act or speak when needed, but you are not compelled to fill the space for its own sake. This is how silence transforms from a temporary pause into a lifelong source of stability and strength. Chapter 2. The Power of Observing Without Speaking. Observation without speech is a form of discipline that refines judgment. When you are silent, you see details that speaking can obscure. The Stoics valued perception as the foundation of right action. By reducing the impulse to voice every thought, you increase the capacity to notice what is actually present. This applies to both people and situations. In silence, you can detect patterns in behavior, shifts in mood, and changes in environment that might otherwise go unnoticed. These insights inform wiser choices. They also protect you from reacting to incomplete information. In disputes, silence can prevent escalation. When confronted with anger or criticism, the immediate urge to respond can inflame the situation. A pause allows emotion to settle. It also signals self-control, which can diffuse tension. This is not avoidance but the preservation of clarity under pressure. The Stoics encouraged aligning speech with necessity. Many situations require nothing from you but presence and awareness. This is the essence of observing without speaking. It reduces the influence of emotion and increases the influence of reason. Practical application begins with deliberate pauses in conversation. Before answering, breathe and consider the value of your words. This habit strengthens both listening and discernment, giving you an edge in every interaction. This principle applies across all human interaction and environmental awareness. In silence, you have the capacity to read subtle signals, changes in posture, variations in tone, and fluctuations in energy that give you deeper insight into others' intentions and states of mind. You can observe sequences of behavior over time, noting consistencies and deviations that reveal patterns. The same applies to surroundings. Shifts in atmosphere, interruptions in routine, or changes in pace can carry meaning that constant talking or distraction would conceal. This refined perception helps you choose your next step with greater accuracy and shields you from acting on assumptions or partial truths. In disputes, silence works as both a shield and a signal. The natural drive to respond when challenged can intensify a disagreement, leading to careless words or irreversible statements. A measured pause allows the emotional temperature to drop, creating room for reason to guide your reply. It conveys that you are in control of yourself and will not be moved by provocation. In many cases, this composure prompts the other party to lower their tone or reconsider their stance, making resolution more likely. The Stoic approach was to let speech serve necessity, reserving words for when they contribute something essential to the moment. Observing without speaking is active, not passive. It keeps your mind engaged while removing the pull of emotion from your decisions. This makes it easier to assess the true nature of a situation before committing to an action. To apply this effectively, build the habit of inserting a brief pause before speaking in any setting. Use that space to weigh the worth of your contribution and whether silence would serve better. Over time, these deliberate pauses sharpen your judgment, heighten your listening, and cultivate a presence that draws respect without the need for constant speech. Chapter 3. Silence and Self-Mastery. Self-mastery begins with mastering the impulses of speech. Words once spoken cannot be taken back. The Stoics understood that careless speech often leads to careless action. In silence, you create the distance needed to examine motives before acting. Seneca warned against wasting time on trivial talk, cautioning that idle speech drains both energy and focus. He understood that words can easily become a vessel for vanity, resentment, gossip, or unexamined opinion, drawing the mind away from higher aims and more enduring pursuits. By consciously limiting speech, you conserve the mental and emotional energy required for meaningful action and keep yourself free from obligations, disputes, or false impressions that have no lasting value. This conservation of energy allows you to invest more fully in the work, responsibilities, and relationships that align with your principles, strengthening both your purpose and your effectiveness. Silence reinforces the connection between thought and action by eliminating the constant leakage of attention into needless conversation. Speaking less builds a habit of deliberate movement, where each step and each decision is preceded by careful thought. You begin to cultivate precision in both word and deed, allowing your actions to carry the full weight of your intentions without the dilution of idle speech. Over time, this deliberate restraint establishes a reputation for reliability, focus, and steadiness, qualities the Stoics considered essential for personal authority, leadership, and moral influence. To develop this discipline, set clear and intentional boundaries on when, where, and how you speak. Make a conscious choice to refrain from conversations that lack substance or clear benefit. Pay attention to moments when you feel an urge to voice an opinion out of habit, discomfort, or impatience, and redirect that urge toward active listening. Give others space to speak without interruption, allowing their full meaning to emerge before you respond. Practice holding silence for a few extra moments, even when you have something to contribute, using that time to refine your words or to decide if they are needed at all. With consistent repetition, this restraint will sharpen your communication, shape your character, and make your presence felt through the depth of your attention and the precision of your contributions. When you reduce unnecessary speech, you create more space for reflection, deeper analysis, and the careful evaluation of your intentions before they are acted upon. Each deliberate moment of restraint strengthens the link between your inner reasoning and your outward behavior. This connection supports a way of moving through life with intention, ensuring that words and actions are consistently in harmony with your values. It also shields the mind from scattering its focus through constant, low-value conversation, preserving energy and attention for the matters of highest priority. Developing this restraint benefits from a deliberate framework. Establish clear boundaries around when, where, and with whom you engage in conversation. This structure reinforces self-control and reduces the likelihood of being drawn into exchanges that serve no constructive purpose. Consider creating specific times in the day for verbal engagement, while protecting periods devoted to quiet work or focused thought. Over time, these patterns make silence feel natural and comfortable, even in social settings where noise is the norm. Part of strengthening this discipline is training your awareness to catch the signs of impulsive speech before it happens. Notice the internal cues, a quickening of thought, a readiness to interrupt, or a subtle tension in the body. Each of these signals presents an opportunity to pause, take a measured breath, and choose whether to remain silent or to speak with greater precision. This habit inserts a buffer between impulse and expression, allowing reason to guide your choice. As you practice, the habit of measured speech begins to project a quiet authority. People will recognize that your words are given with intention and value them more highly. This increases your influence, as trust is often placed in those who speak with clarity and restraint. In leadership, it enables you to direct and inspire without relying on constant instruction or noise. In this way, silence evolves from a simple act of self-control into a foundation for consistent, high-quality action. It aligns what you intend with what you do, fortifies your mind against unnecessary distraction, and builds a presence that earns respect through steadiness and thoughtful contribution. Chapter 4. Silence in the face of provocation. The Stoic view of provocation is that it is a test of inner stability. Anger seeks an audience, and silence denies it one. By not feeding the cycle of provocation, you maintain command over yourself and the situation. When provoked, the mind is often clouded by the strong urge to defend, justify, or retaliate, and in that state, speech can easily inflict damage that lingers long after the moment passes. The compulsion to respond quickly can override sound judgment, leading to words that fuel the conflict instead of diffusing it. Choosing silence in such moments serves as a deliberate protective barrier. It interrupts the automatic chain between stimulus and reaction, creating the necessary space for the initial rush of emotion to fade and for rational thought to return. This pause alters the pace of the exchange, forcing both you and the other person to face the absence of a verbal counterattack. Often, this lack of immediate response unsettles the momentum of hostility, cooling tempers and opening the possibility of resolution. Marcus Aurelius advised meeting offense with dignity, recognizing that dignity is preserved by declining to be drawn into petty or reactive exchanges. In these moments, silence is not an empty retreat, but an active tactic. It redirects your focus toward what remains under your command, your thoughts, your breathing, your posture, and the steadiness of your expression. This focus anchors you, shielding your composure from being worn down by the emotional pull of the encounter. Building this capacity takes steady, deliberate training. Start in low-stakes situations where irritation or disagreement is mild. Use these moments to practice withholding your first response and observing what happens within yourself during that pause. Notice the urge to speak, acknowledge it, and consciously choose to wait. As you build familiarity with this process, your tolerance for silence in more challenging circumstances will grow. Over time, this habit will allow you to respond with greater precision, clarity, and control, turning situations that might have erupted into conflict into opportunities to model self-mastery and quiet strength. When provoked, the body and mind often enter a heightened state in which the heartbeat quickens, breathing becomes shallow, and thoughts accelerate. In this state, the natural impulse to defend, justify, or retaliate can take hold before deliberate reasoning has a chance to intervene. Words spoken in such moments can leave deep and lasting marks, affecting relationships, reputations, and opportunities. The tendency to respond without pause can also set in motion a cycle of reaction and counter-reaction that becomes increasingly difficult to break. Choosing silence under these conditions is a conscious act of restraint and self-protection. It halts the automatic sequence of stimulus and reaction, creating a valuable gap in which the intensity of the initial emotion can subside and the clarity of rational thought can return. This intentional delay changes the rhythm of the exchange, disrupting the buildup of hostility and forcing both parties to adjust to the absence of verbal resistance. In many cases, this space is all that is needed for tempers to cool and for a more constructive path forward to appear. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that meeting offense with dignity preserves integrity and strengthens character. Dignity in this context is maintained through a disciplined refusal to be drawn into exchanges that serve no higher purpose. Silence in these moments is a tactical decision, one that turns attention inward to what is firmly within personal control: thoughts, posture, breathing, and the steadiness of one's expression. By centering focus on these elements, you create a mental and physical barrier against the pull of another person's agitation. This approach allows you to remain grounded, reducing the likelihood of saying something that undermines your position or disrupts your peace. The ability to hold silence in the face of provocation is not developed in an instant. It is built gradually through consistent practice in everyday situations. Begin with small, low-stakes interactions, such as minor frustrations in traffic, slight delays, or casual remarks that might otherwise irritate you. Use these moments to practice pausing before responding. Pay close attention to the sensations that arise: the tightening in your chest, the rush of words forming in your mind, the impulse to interrupt, and train yourself to allow them to pass without immediate expression. Over time, extend this practice into more emotionally charged encounters. Each successful moment of silence in these situations strengthens your tolerance for restraint under pressure. Through repetition, this habit becomes a skill you can rely on in any setting. It enables you to respond with measured precision, to choose words that serve your long-term goals, and to carry yourself in a way that conveys authority without aggression. In turning potential conflicts into demonstrations of composure, you project quiet strength, earn respect, and reinforce your own mastery over the most challenging moments of human interaction. Chapter 5. Creating Daily Rituals of Silence. Rituals give structure to the practice of silence, turning it from an occasional habit into a dependable part of daily life. The Stoics often began and ended the day with deliberate periods of reflection. These were carefully protected intervals for reviewing actions, assessing decisions, and preparing the mind for what lay ahead. Each session was a form of training, reinforcing clarity and self-command. Morning silence serves as a foundation for the day. Before speaking or engaging with others, spend time alone with your thoughts. Use this period to set priorities, envision upcoming challenges, and reaffirm your guiding principles. Let it be a moment to align your mind before external demands begin to pull at your attention. Evening silence functions as a closing ritual, giving space to evaluate what was done well, identify what needs improvement, and release the day's concerns before rest. Between these anchor points, smaller moments of silence can be woven throughout the day. A walk without conversation allows thoughts to settle and attention to sharpen. A pause before a meeting can steady the mind and prepare it to focus on the task. Brief breaks from information and conversation between tasks help restore concentration and prevent mental fatigue. Even a few minutes of quiet can reset the pace of your thinking. Over time, these practices become stable markers in your routine. They help you return to your center, no matter how fast or chaotic the environment becomes. Silence in this form is not an absence to escape into, but a presence you carry with you, a constant source of strength, stability, and clear direction in every situation. Rituals are the framework that gives silence permanence in a busy life. Without them, quiet moments are left to chance, easily pushed aside by urgent demands or small distractions. By shaping them into intentional practices, you create predictable windows in which the mind can recharge and refocus. The Stoics treated these times as essential appointments with themselves, opportunities for honest self-examination, and for strengthening the principles that guided their actions. Morning silence becomes more than a pause. It is the moment that sets the tone for every choice and action that follows. Before engaging with the world, you can use this time to define your objectives, anticipate challenges, and rehearse your approach to them. It prepares the mind to act with intention instead of reacting out of habit. Evening silence, by contrast, serves as a deliberate cool-down, a period for honest evaluation, for recording insights, and for letting go of unnecessary mental weight before rest. Between these two anchors, smaller intervals of silence can be used to maintain clarity throughout the day. This might be a few moments of stillness after completing demanding work, a quiet walk to reset your energy, or a short pause before important conversations. It can also involve removing noise from daily routines, reducing unnecessary background sound, limiting digital interruptions, or setting boundaries around when you are available to speak. As these rituals take root, they form a steady rhythm in your life. They become a grounding presence that holds firm even when external events shift quickly. Integrated into daily living, silence evolves into a skill you can access at any time, a personal source of strength, steadiness, and direction that remains with you regardless of circumstance. Chapter 6. Silence as a form of strength. Silence, when practiced with intention, becomes a form of inner strength that sustains resilience, composure, and self-control. It is the capacity to remain steady when others are carried along by impulse or emotion. The Stoics regarded this as an essential element of living in harmony with reason. They approached silence as a deliberate act of maintaining one's ground while allowing the noise and agitation of the moment to pass without influence. This steadiness, reinforced through repetition, becomes a reliable anchor in unpredictable circumstances. In moments of uncertainty, silence creates the space to observe carefully and gather a complete picture before engaging. It allows you to examine the details, distinguish fact from assumption, and weigh the potential consequences of different responses. This pause acts as a shield against the temptation to speak prematurely or act without full understanding, Those who master this discipline are less likely to be swayed by urgency, provocation, or the shifting emotions of others, giving them a strategic advantage in both personal and professional situations. Silence also communicates a quiet form of confidence that is easily recognized. People are naturally drawn to those who listen fully and respond with words chosen carefully. This measured approach conveys self-assurance, patience, and authority. In leadership roles, silence becomes a tool for influence, showing that you value listening, thorough evaluation, and decisions made from a place of balance rather than haste. To strengthen silence as a form of strength, consciously practice leaving space in conversations and treat these pauses as intentional tools rather than accidental gaps. Resist the impulse to fill every break with unnecessary words, and instead let pauses develop naturally so they can serve a clear purpose. Use these moments to steady your breathing, gather your thoughts, and observe both the verbal and non-verbal cues of those around you. Notice shifts in tone, facial expressions, and body language, as these often reveal as much as spoken words. Pay attention to the flow of the discussion and how it changes when you remain silent, allowing others to elaborate or reconsider their points. This attentive presence gives you a more complete understanding of the dynamics at play. Over time, the habit of embracing these pauses will sharpen your perception, deepen your ability to read situations accurately, and reinforce your capacity to respond with precision. This discipline not only enhances your insight, but also ensures that when you do speak, your words carry intentional weight, allowing your presence to exert influence even before you contribute verbally. In moments of uncertainty, silence creates a deliberate space where observation can happen without distraction or distortion. This quiet period allows you to watch the situation unfold, notice small details that might otherwise be missed, and form a clear mental map of what is occurring before taking any action. It gives you the mental room to compare information, identify inconsistencies, and separate verified facts from assumptions or incomplete impressions. This is not just about avoiding premature speech. It is about ensuring that every response you give is grounded in the most accurate understanding available. The habit of pausing before engagement builds a natural resistance to external pressures, making it easier to avoid being pulled by urgency, emotional displays, or the manipulative tactics of others. This steady posture, maintained consistently, gives you an advantage in decision-making, negotiations, and any high-stakes interaction where timing and clarity matter. Silence also signals a presence that others instinctively recognize as confidence and authority. It shows that you are comfortable with patience, that you are not rushed by the energy of the room, and that you value the weight of your own judgment. People tend to feel more heard in your presence when you let them finish fully before offering your thoughts. This listening builds trust, and your eventual words carry more influence because they are clearly the result of reflection rather than impulse. In leadership, this dynamic is even more powerful. Silence becomes a means of control over the pace of discussions, guiding the flow of dialogue without overtly dominating it. Developing silence as a deliberate tool requires consistent, mindful practice. Begin by setting the intention to let conversations breathe, even if your instinct is to respond immediately. During pauses, focus on your breathing to steady your attention and allow thoughts to settle. As you listen, take note of nonverbal signals, posture changes, hand movements, subtle shifts in eye contact, or a change in tone that might reveal hesitation or conviction. These observations often add layers of meaning beyond the spoken words. In group discussions, silence can encourage others to expand on their points or reconsider their stance, often leading to more honest or revealing exchanges. Over time, these moments of quiet observation sharpen your understanding of people's motives, strengthen your strategic thinking, and give you the discipline to respond in a way that has both clarity and precision. Eventually, this approach makes your presence impactful in any setting, even before a single word is spoken. Chapter 7. Silence in Decision-Making. Sound decisions are built on clarity, and clarity requires space for thought. Silence creates that space. The Stoics believed that important choices should be made with the mind free from distraction and urgency. When you are silent, you are less likely to be influenced by the emotions or agendas of others, and more able to hear your own reasoning. Before making a decision, step back from the discussion and create a deliberate and extended period of quiet. Use this time to gather all relevant facts, confirm their accuracy through reliable sources, and examine each detail in the broader context of the situation. Break down the information into what is known, what is assumed, and what needs verification. Consider the credibility of each source and seek clarification where details remain unclear. Explore the full range of possible outcomes, immediate, short-term, and long-term, and measure each option carefully against your principles, long-standing priorities, and moral framework. Visualize the potential impact of each path, noting the benefits, risks, and any secondary effects. Reflect on how each choice aligns with your personal and professional objectives, and identify potential unintended consequences. Think through the influence each decision might have on relationships, trust, reputation, resources, and future opportunities. This deliberate pause reduces the likelihood of acting on incomplete information, strengthens the connection between choices and guiding standards, and ensures that your actions are anchored in reason, foresight, and strategic awareness. In group settings, silence can serve as a significant strategic advantage. By listening fully without rushing to present your position, you gain a more complete and nuanced understanding of the perspectives, motives, and priorities of others. This approach keeps your options open and allows you to adjust your stance as new details emerge. When individuals do not feel interrupted or pressured, they often reveal more information, including insights or concerns they might have otherwise withheld. Such openness can lead to breakthroughs in understanding, better collaboration, and more effective solutions. Pausing before you speak also enables you to read the emotional temperature of the group, detect unspoken tensions, and craft your input to have the greatest constructive impact. Observing these dynamics equips you to choose the precise moment to speak, so that your words carry maximum weight and encourage progress instead of resistance. To make silence an established and dependable part of your decision-making, build a consistent habit of reflection before committing to action. Use pauses, whether short or extended, to review the situation from multiple perspectives, assess timing, and identify potential challenges. Envision best case, worst case, and most likely scenarios, weighing these against your available resources, strategic priorities, and long-term objectives. Consider the sequence of actions required for each choice, the skills needed, and the allies or support systems that would be necessary to succeed. Anticipate possible obstacles and plan how you would address them in advance. Over time, this disciplined and intentional use of silence will sharpen your judgment, deepen your self-trust, and give you the capacity to act with clarity, balance, and purpose, even in high-pressure and rapidly changing situations. Chapter 8. The Discipline of Withholding Judgment. Silence is closely tied to the discipline of withholding judgment, a skill the Stoics regarded as central to wise living and essential for sound decision-making. They understood that first impressions, while powerful, are often incomplete, distorted, or shaped by limited and sometimes misleading information. By consciously holding your tongue and refraining from immediate commentary, you create the opportunity for additional facts to surface, for other perspectives to be expressed, and for your own understanding to mature before conclusions are drawn. This patient withholding allows more layers of truth to emerge, giving you a stronger foundation for any eventual response. Withholding judgment is a deliberate, sustained process that requires ongoing mental discipline. It is more than a passive delay of opinion. It is the conscious act of restraining the tendency to label, categorize, or evaluate situations and people before having a full understanding. This restraint demands active engagement with the flow of information, paying attention to how it develops over time and noticing the small, often subtle shifts that contribute to the larger picture. Clarity in many matters does not arrive all at once. It emerges in stages, often through details that are easily overlooked when the mind is eager to conclude. This practice calls for humility, acknowledging that your current understanding may be partial, and patience, allowing conditions to unfold until you have a more accurate grasp of events. Silence reinforces these traits, helping you remain steady and receptive to new data without anchoring yourself to early, incomplete impressions. In conversation, applying this discipline serves as a safeguard against making remarks that could undermine credibility or cause unnecessary complications later. It reduces the likelihood of committing to an opinion prematurely, which can limit your flexibility when circumstances change or new evidence emerges. It also prevents escalation in discussions where strong emotions or competing agendas are present. In observation, withholding judgment increases your ability to move past surface-level appearances. Over time, you begin to detect patterns in behavior, consistencies and inconsistencies in actions, and subtle cues in tone, body language, and timing that offer a deeper understanding of intentions. This level of perception often provides insight that others miss when they rush to form conclusions. To strengthen this habit, make intentional pauses a consistent and deliberate feature of your communication process. Train yourself to approach new information with a measured pace that allows for thorough exploration before forming conclusions. When listening, aim to identify gaps, inconsistencies, or vague statements that require clarification, and ask direct, focused questions to bring these into the open. Look for both explicit details and underlying implications, considering what may be left unsaid as well as what is stated. Keep your attention fully engaged in the exchange rather than shifting focus toward planning your response, as doing so helps you absorb nuance and avoid missing critical cues. In situations where facts are incomplete, contradictory, or sensitive in nature, treat silence as an investigative instrument. Cross-check key claims with independent and credible sources to test their reliability. Seek out diverse viewpoints to identify potential bias and to expose blind spots in the information you've been given. Observe developments over time, noting whether patterns hold steady or begin to change, as these shifts can reveal deeper truths or hidden motives. Apply this process methodically across personal interactions, professional collaborations, and high-stakes decisions so it becomes a habitual and reliable practice. As this discipline takes root in your character, your assessments will become more accurate, and your ability to interpret complex situations will expand significantly. You will begin to perceive layers of meaning in tone, subtle variations in body language, and contextual cues that might remain invisible to those with less developed awareness. Your observations will extend beyond what is obvious, allowing you to identify patterns, intentions, and potential outcomes with a higher degree of precision. Your choices will rest on a broader and more reliable foundation of evidence, strengthened by repeated verification and comparison of sources, leading to results that demonstrate consistency and sound judgment. Over time, people will recognize the steadiness, depth, and precision in your reasoning, viewing you as a dependable source of insight and fairness. They will seek your input in both routine matters and critical decisions, knowing it is grounded in patient analysis and a commitment to accuracy. The weight of your words will grow as they become known for being measured, relevant, and impactful, supported by careful attention, rigorous evaluation, and a clear dedication to truth. This will make your influence both respected and enduring, extending your ability to guide situations toward clarity and constructive outcomes. Chapter 9. Silence in Conflict Resolution. Conflict often escalates because people feel the need to assert themselves through constant speech. The Stoics understood that silence can diffuse tension and create room for resolution. By not reacting verbally to every challenge, you give space for emotions to settle and for reason to re-enter the discussion. In tense situations, silence can function as a deliberate and powerful form of communication that signals attentiveness, patience, and control. When used with intention, it conveys to the other person that you are fully engaged in understanding their perspective and that you value their right to be heard without interruption. This measured stillness can lower defensive barriers, create a sense of safety in the exchange, and open the possibility for more constructive dialogue. It can also slow the pace of a heated discussion, giving all parties the chance to think more clearly. By choosing to pause instead of reacting immediately, you protect yourself from impulsive remarks that might be regretted later, while also preventing the conversation from spiraling into arguments that close off solutions. These pauses allow emotions, yours and theirs, to cool enough for logic, empathy, and cooperation to guide the interaction. To apply silence effectively in conflict resolution, cultivate the habit of listening with complete focus before offering any response. This means giving your full attention to both the spoken and unspoken elements of the exchange. Listen to the actual words being used, but also pay close attention to tone, pacing, and emotional undercurrents that may reveal underlying feelings or intentions. Observe the other person's facial expressions, posture, gestures, and shifts in movement, as these non-verbal cues often provide important context that speech alone cannot convey. Take note of pauses in their speech, changes in inflection, or moments when their body language contradicts their words, as these details can signal deeper issues that need acknowledgement. Resist the natural impulse to mentally prepare your reply while the other person is speaking, as this splits your attention and weakens your ability to register the full meaning of their message. Maintain complete focus on what is being expressed in the moment. Listen to the exact words, the tone, the pace, and the moments of hesitation or emphasis. Observe facial expressions, posture, and gestures, as these often reveal attitudes, emotions, or priorities that are not directly stated. This level of attentiveness ensures you are not only hearing the content, but also absorbing the emotional and relational context in which it is delivered. By keeping your mind clear of preformed responses, you allow each point to be understood in its entirety before deciding how to address it. Allowing the other person to finish without interruption shows that you value their perspective, which often encourages them to share more openly and with less guardedness. This uninterrupted flow can bring forward critical details and clarify underlying motivations that might otherwise remain hidden. When it is your turn to speak, select words that address the central matter directly and constructively, choosing language that is precise, relevant, and purposeful. Keep your focus firmly on the essential points, steering clear of tangential issues, side arguments, or emotional diversions that can weaken the discussion's purpose or draw attention away from what truly needs resolution. Maintain a calm, steady tone that projects both control and respect, reinforcing an atmosphere where reason, cooperation, and mutual problem-solving can take hold. Your physical presence should mirror this steadiness. Measured movements, an upright and attentive posture, and consistent, deliberate eye contact all communicate stability, seriousness, and reliability. If necessary, summarize the main points you have understood from their statements before offering your perspective, confirming shared understanding and reducing the chance of misinterpretation or misalignment. In doing so, you help create a stable framework in which both parties can operate from a clear and mutually agreed foundation of facts and intentions. Expanding on this approach can enhance its effectiveness. Take a moment to ensure your delivery matches the tone you wish to set. Avoid rushing your speech and instead allow brief pauses between key points to let them settle with the listener. Keep your phrasing free from unnecessary complexity, so your message remains clear even under pressure. When offering your viewpoint, structure it in a logical order, moving from the central issue to supporting points, and closing with a clear proposed step or resolution. This method of speaking makes it easier for others to follow your reasoning and respond constructively. You can also use measured acknowledgement, briefly validating the other party's concerns or perspectives to show that you have fully heard them, even if you do not agree with every detail. This fosters openness and reduces defensive reactions. The consistent application of this disciplined use of silence and controlled speech transforms conflict into a process that is more productive and solutions-focused. It replaces reactive exchanges with deliberate, thoughtful engagement, establishing a rhythm where speaking and listening enhance one another rather than compete. This balance improves the depth and quality of discussions, increases the likelihood of well-considered outcomes, and minimizes unnecessary tension or hostility. Over time, your ability to maintain composure in disagreements will become recognized as a sign of fairness, maturity, and leadership. People will understand that your contributions are the product of careful consideration, broad perspective, and genuine intent, which deepens their trust in your judgment. This credibility makes it easier to find agreements, craft mutually beneficial solutions, and preserve positive relationships even through challenging disputes. By mastering and refining this approach, you position yourself as someone who can guide even the most difficult interactions toward resolution with clarity, steadiness, and lasting influence. Chapter 10. Making Silence a Lifelong Practice. For the Stoics, silence was not a temporary exercise, but a lifelong discipline. Its value grows over time, shaping your character and deepening your ability to live with clarity and purpose. The more you practice silence, the more natural it becomes, until it is a constant part of how you move through the world. To make silence a permanent element of your life, create consistent rituals that reinforce it in both structured and unstructured moments. Protect specific times in your day for reflection, deep thought, and quiet observation, treating them as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Reduce unnecessary noise from your environment by limiting exposure to constant chatter, irrelevant information, and habitual distractions. Approach conversations with the intention to listen more than you speak, and train yourself to observe subtle cues before responding. Incorporate brief moments of stillness before key decisions, after significant events, and at natural pauses during the day to reset your mental clarity. Over the years, the benefits of this practice will compound and expand across all areas of life. Your decisions will be more thoughtful because they are shaped by clarity rather than impulse. Your relationships will be more grounded through the trust built from consistent, attentive listening. Your mind will become more resilient in the face of pressure as you strengthen your ability to remain composed regardless of external noise. Silence will become part of your daily rhythm, integrated into work, relationships, and personal growth. It will no longer be something you seek only in moments of stress. It will serve as the steady foundation and inner anchor on which you build every choice, habit, and interaction, providing stability in both calm and turbulent times.
Have you ever faced a failure so profound that it left you questioning your path and purpose? Consider the words of modern Stoic philosopher William Irvine. The Stoics' advice is simple. We should welcome, rather than dread, whatever challenges fate may throw at us. Seneca once stated, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. No one ever steps in the same river twice." Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current." Viktor Frankl, a modern Stoic in spirit, who survived the horrors of Auschwitz, wrote in his book, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." CEOs like Steve Jobs embraced setbacks, using them as fuel for creativity. He once said, "I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance." The Stoics would agree. After all, the most compelling tales are those where someone overcomes adversity to achieve something extraordinary. What if the bridge between dreams and reality is the discipline of consistent action? The Stoics believed that knowledge without action is meaningless. What if the key to success isn't avoiding obstacles or discomfort, but instead embracing them? Lesson 1. Embracing the unavoidable. Turning trials into triumphs. The Stoics believed that obstacles are not impediments to our progress, but rather the very path we must walk. They taught that every challenge presents an opportunity for growth, and that by confronting difficulties head-on, we can transform them into catalysts for success. So, how can we learn to see obstacles not as barriers, but as the way forward? The Stoics, ancient and modern alike, teach us that our perception shapes our reality. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This profound insight suggests that obstacles are not merely to be endured, but are essential for our development. Consider the story of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Rejected by countless investors, she viewed each no as a step closer to a yes. By embracing rejection, she turned a $5,000 savings into a billion-dollar empire. Like the Stoics, she understood that obstacles refine us, not define us. But how do we cultivate this mindset in our daily lives? The Stoics advise us to shift our perspective and see obstacles as opportunities. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means taking control of our responses and choosing to see challenges as beneficial. Imagine you made a bad trade in the stock market and lost money. Instead of succumbing to frustration or depression, view it as a chance to read educational content relating to market conditions and chart reading, or practice patience and emotional control for trading, and not succumbing to greed or the fear of missing out. By reframing the situation, the obstacle becomes a pathway to personal growth. Modern Stoic philosopher Ryan Holiday echoes this timeless wisdom in his book, The Obstacle is the Way. He suggests that we should welcome difficulties as they force us to think differently and innovate. CEOs like Steve Jobs embraced setbacks, using them as fuel for creativity. After being fired from Apple, Jobs founded Next and Pixar, only to return stronger than ever. He once said, "I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance." The Stoics would agree, urging us to ask ourselves, how can I turn this problem into an advantage? The next time you face a challenge, pause and ask, what opportunity does this present? Write down 3 potential benefits that could arise from this obstacle. For instance, a failed stock market trade might teach you valuable lessons in patience and proper due diligence. or a project might teach you valuable lessons about teamwork or project management. By actively seeking the silver lining, you train your mind to automatically look for growth opportunities in every situation. Over time, this practice will transform how you perceive and handle obstacles and challenges. Embracing obstacles doesn't mean seeking out difficulties unnecessarily, but recognizing that they are inevitable parts of life. The Stoics teach that by accepting and welcoming them, we build resilience and character. So, the next time you encounter a roadblock, remember, the obstacle is not in your way, it is the way. Are you ready to turn your trials into triumphs? Lesson 2. The Art of Acceptance. Navigating the Winds of Fate. Epictetus wisely noted, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. By distinguishing between what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and what is not, we can direct our energy more effectively." Imagine the relief of letting go of worries about the stock market conditions, economy, geopolitical tensions, political ideologies, cultural divisiveness, weather, other people's opinions, or unexpected events. Acceptance doesn't mean we approve of everything that happens, but we acknowledge it as part of our reality. In modern times, leaders like Warren Buffett embody this Stoic principle. Known for his calm demeanor in the face of market volatility, Buffett focuses on long-term strategy rather than short-term fluctuations he cannot control. He once said, "You only have to do a very few things right in your life so long as you don't do too many things wrong." By accepting market unpredictability, he concentrates on making sound decisions within his sphere of influence. But acceptance isn't about giving up, it's about empowerment. Modern Stoic philosopher Massimo Pigliucci explains, "By focusing on what is up to us and letting go of everything else, we achieve a serenity that is the very hallmark of the Stoic sage." This means actively engaging with what we can influence and releasing the rest. It's a liberating practice that can reduce stress and increase effectiveness in all areas of life. Begin each day by identifying one thing you cannot control and consciously accepting it. For example, acknowledge that you can't control stock market conditions, but you can control your reaction to it. Throughout the day, remind yourself to release any tension associated with that uncontrollable factor. This daily practice builds the habit of acceptance, leading to a more peaceful and focused, clear mind. By embracing acceptance, we align ourselves with the flow of life, rather than constantly swimming against the current. The Stoics remind us that serenity comes not from changing the world, but from changing our relationship to it. So ask yourself, what can I accept today to find greater peace? In accepting what we cannot change, we discover the freedom to change what we can. Lesson 3. Building your inner citadel, fortifying the mind against adversity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Men seek retreats for themselves, but it is in your power whenever you shall choose to retire into yourself." This inner citadel is built through self-discipline, reflection, and the cultivation of virtue. By focusing on our character and values, we create a stable foundation that external circumstances cannot erode. Consider the example of Viktor Frankl, a modern Stoic in spirit, who survived the horrors of Auschwitz. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Despite unimaginable suffering, Frankl found solace and strength within himself. His inner citadel not only helped him survive, but also to find meaning amid despair. Building your inner citadel involves regular self-reflection and commitment to personal growth. Modern Stoic philosopher Donald Robertson suggests practices like journaling, meditation, and philosophical contemplation to strengthen the mind. By examining our thoughts and actions, we become more aware of our internal processes and better equipped to handle external challenges. It's about nurturing resilience, wisdom, and emotional intelligence. Dedicate 15 minutes each evening to reflective journaling. Write about the day's events, your reactions, and what you learned. Ask yourself, did I act in accordance with my values? How could I have responded better? Over time, This practice will heighten your self-awareness and reinforce your inner citadel, making you more resilient in the face of adversity. Your inner citadel is your sanctuary, a place of peace and strength that you carry with you always. By investing in your inner world, you become less dependent on external validation and more grounded in your sense of self. So, are you ready to start building your inner fortress? Remember, the strongest walls are built one brick at a time. Lesson 4. The discipline of action, turning intentions into reality. Have you ever had grand ideas but struggled to bring them to fruition? What if the bridge between dreams and reality is the discipline of consistent action? The Stoics believed that knowledge without action is meaningless. They taught that it is through disciplined effort that we turn obstacles into opportunities. How can you harness the power of disciplined action to achieve your goals? The Stoics emphasized that we must not only think rightly but also act accordingly. Seneca advised, "It is not enough to wish for the good, one must do it." This means committing to purposeful action, even when faced with challenges. Consider the story of Angela Duckworth, a modern psychologist who introduced the concept of grit, the power of passion and perseverance. Her research echoes Stoic principles, showing that sustained effort over time is a key predictor of success. In the business world, leaders like Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, embody this discipline. Cook is known for his meticulous attention to detail and relentless work ethic. He once said, "Let your joy be in your journey, not in some distant goal." By focusing on daily actions and maintaining discipline, he continues to drive innovation and excellence at Apple. Discipline involves setting clear intentions and following through, regardless of external obstacles or internal resistance. Modern Stoic thinker Ryan Holiday emphasizes, "We must all either wear out or rust out, every one of us. My choice is to wear out." This underscores the importance of persistent action in achieving our aspirations. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, even when motivation wanes. Set a specific, achievable goal for the next week related to an area you wish to improve. Break it down into daily actions and schedule them into your calendar. Hold yourself accountable by tracking your progress each day. For example, if you want to start a writing project, commit to writing 500 words daily. By cultivating this discipline, you transform intentions into tangible results. The discipline of action turns the theoretical into the practical. It's the difference between wishing and doing. The Stoics knew that by taking consistent steps, no matter how small, we move closer to our goals. So, what action will you take today to advance on your path? Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lesson 5. Mastering emotions, navigating the inner storm. Seneca stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means acknowledging our feelings without being overwhelmed by them. Modern psychology supports this view, with emotional intelligence being a key factor in personal and professional success. Leaders like Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo, attribute their effectiveness to managing emotions and empathizing with others. Epictetus advised, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." By reframing our thoughts and questioning irrational beliefs, we can reduce unnecessary emotional turmoil. Modern Stoic philosopher William Irvine suggests practicing Stoic mindfulness, which involves observing our emotions objectively and choosing our responses wisely. Practice the Stoic pause. When you experience a strong emotion, take a moment to breathe deeply and observe what you're feeling. Identify the emotion and consider its source. Ask yourself, is my reaction proportional to the situation? What is within my control here? This pause creates space for a measured response rather than an impulsive reaction. By mastering our emotions, we enhance our decision-making and strengthen our relationships. The Stoics teach that tranquility comes from within, not from external circumstances. So, are you ready to take the helm of your emotional ship and steer it confidently through life's changing tides? Remember, you have the power to choose your response in any situation. Lesson 6. Practicing mindful presence. The power of now. Do you find yourself dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, missing the moments unfolding before you? What if the key to a fulfilling life is fully embracing the present? The Stoics emphasized the importance of living in the moment, understanding that the present is the only time we truly possess. How can cultivating mindful presence enhance your life? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." This advice underscores the value of focusing on the here and now. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we reduce anxiety about what's to come and regrets about what's past. Modern mindfulness practices align with this Stoic teaching, showing that present moment awareness improves mental health and overall well-being. Consider the example of mindfulness advocate Jon Kabat-Zinn, who has brought meditation into mainstream medicine. His work demonstrates that being present enhances our ability to cope with stress and improves our quality of life. Like the Stoics, he teaches that mindfulness is about paying attention intentionally and non-judgmentally to the present moment. Dedicate time each day to a mindfulness practice. This could be as simple as focusing on your breath for 5 minutes, observing sensations without judgment. Alternatively, engage in mindful walking or eating, paying full attention to the experience. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to remain present throughout your day. Living mindfully enriches our experiences and deepens our appreciation for life. The Stoics knew that by embracing the present, we make the most of our time. So, how will you bring more presence into your life today? Remember, the present moment is a gift. Embrace it fully. Lesson 7. Embracing change, the constant of impermanence. Do you resist change, holding on to the familiar even when it's no longer serving you? What if accepting the impermanence of life could bring you peace and freedom? The Stoics understood that change is inevitable and that embracing it is essential for harmony. How can accepting impermanence improve your ability to navigate life's transitions? Heraclitus, a philosopher admired by the Stoics, famously said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." This metaphor highlights that everything is in constant flux. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Time is a sort of river of passing events, and strong is its current." By recognizing that change is natural, we can adapt more readily and reduce suffering associated with clinging to the past. In the business world, adaptability is key. Satya Nadella transformed Microsoft by fostering a culture open to change. He stated, "Our industry does not respect tradition, it only respects innovation. By embracing change, both individuals and organizations can thrive in evolving landscapes." Reflect on a recent change in your life. Write down the ways in which it has opened up new opportunities or taught you valuable lessons. Practice gratitude for the growth that change brings. By shifting your perspective, you begin to see change as a friend rather than a foe. Accepting impermanence allows us to move fluidly with life's currents rather than against them. The Stoics teach that peace comes from aligning ourselves with the natural flow of the universe. So, are you ready to welcome change with open arms? Remember, in embracing change, we embrace life itself. Lesson 8. Transforming setbacks into opportunities. The alchemy of adversity. Have you ever faced a failure so profound that it left you questioning your path and purpose? Have you wondered if such setbacks are merely roadblocks, or if they might hold the key to unlocking your greatest potential? What if the very obstacles that seem to hinder your progress are, in fact, catalysts propelling you toward unparalleled success? The Stoics firmly believed that within every setback lies an opportunity for growth and transformation. They taught that by embracing adversity, we can turn our greatest challenges into our most valuable assets. So, how can we learn to view our failures not as dead ends, but as detours guiding us toward our true destiny? The Stoics, ancient sages and modern thinkers alike, emphasized the transformative power of adversity and our capacity to convert trials into triumphs. Seneca once proclaimed, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." This profound insight suggests that challenges are essential exercises that build our mental fortitude and character. Embracing setbacks requires a fundamental shift in perspective. transforming our understanding of failure and success. The Stoics teach us to perceive failures not as personal deficiencies, but as external events offering opportunities for introspection and improvement. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who rose from slavery to become a respected teacher, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means acknowledging that while we cannot always control external circumstances, we have absolute authority over our responses and attitudes. Modern Stoic philosopher Ryan Holiday echoes this sentiment in his book, The Obstacle is the Way, emphasizing that our perception of events shapes our reality. By viewing setbacks as feedback rather than failure, we empower ourselves to adapt and overcome. In the business world, leaders who embody Stoic principles often transform setbacks into monumental successes, demonstrating the practical application of these teachings in modern contexts. Take the story of Airbnb's founders, Brian Chesky, Joe Gebbia, and Nathan Blekarczyk, who faced repeated rejections and financial struggles in their early days. Instead of abandoning their vision, they used each setback as a learning opportunity, refining their business model and strategies. Their perseverance paid off, and today, Airbnb is a billion-dollar company that has revolutionized the hospitality industry. The Stoics would commend this approach, recognizing that resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity are hallmarks of true leadership and innovation. Similarly, J.K. Rowling faced numerous rejections before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Her persistence turned a series of setbacks into one of the most beloved literary successes of our time. Moreover, embracing the alchemy of adversity doesn't just benefit us individually, it can have a profound impact on those around us. When we transform our setbacks into successes, we become role models, inspiring others to do the same. This ripple effect can lead to a culture of resilience and innovation, both in our personal circles and professional environments. Thomas Edison, for instance, failed thousands of times before inventing the practical electric light bulb. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His persistence not only led to groundbreaking inventions, but also set a precedent for future innovators. In our own lives, we can adopt this Stoic approach by viewing each challenge as a training ground for developing new skills and insights. Adversity can reveal our hidden strengths and push us beyond perceived limitations. By consistently applying this mindset, we build a reservoir of experience and confidence that prepares us for future obstacles. This continuous growth cycle transforms us into more resilient, adaptable, and empowered individuals. To cultivate the practice of transforming setbacks into opportunities in your daily life, begin by reframing your perception of failure. When you encounter a setback, whether personal or professional, take a moment to reflect without judgment. Write down the specifics of the situation, focusing on what you can learn rather than what went wrong. Identify at least 3 actionable lessons or skills you can develop from this experience. For instance, if a business proposal was rejected, consider seeking feedback to improve your presentation, researching market needs more thoroughly, or enhancing your communication skills. Next, create a step-by-step plan to implement these improvements, setting clear goals and timelines. By actively transforming setbacks into learning opportunities, you align with the Stoic principle that the obstacle becomes the way, turning challenges into stepping stones toward success. The alchemy of adversity lies in our ability to convert the lead of failure into the gold of wisdom and progress, much like ancient alchemists sought to transform base metals into precious ones. The Stoics teach that obstacles are not impediments, but essential components of the journey toward excellence. By adopting this mindset, we develop resilience, courage, and a relentless drive to improve ourselves and our circumstances. We learn to view challenges not with fear, but with curiosity and determination, recognizing that each one holds the potential to reveal new strengths and insights. So, when faced with your next setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience, and how can it propel me forward? Remember, the obstacle is not just in your way, it is the way. By embracing this philosophy, you unlock the power to transform any adversity into an opportunity for greatness. Are you ready to turn your setbacks into your most valuable assets and continue your journey with renewed purpose and vigor? By integrating the wisdom of the Stoics into our modern lives, we tap into a timeless source of strength and guidance. Each obstacle we face becomes not a hindrance but a stepping stone, elevating us to new heights of personal and professional development. The path is seldom easy, but it is in the very difficulty of the journey that we find our true capabilities. As we navigate the unpredictable terrain of life, let's carry with us the conviction that every setback is setting us up for a comeback. Let's remember that the process of overcoming obstacles refines us, making us more than we were before. So, will you choose to see your obstacles as opportunities? Will you embrace the alchemy of adversity and transform your challenges into triumphs? The choice is yours, and the potential is limitless. Embracing this approach doesn't mean we won't feel disappointment or frustration. Rather, it means we won't be defined or defeated by them. It allows us to maintain our equilibrium in the face of trials, much like a seasoned sailor navigates rough seas without losing sight of the shore. By fostering a mindset that welcomes challenges as allies rather than enemies, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities that might otherwise remain hidden. Remember, every great story includes moments of struggle that lead to ultimate victory. Your story is no different. The next time you encounter an obstacle, see it as the universe inviting you to rise to the occasion, to become the hero of your own narrative. After all, the most compelling tales are those where someone overcomes adversity to achieve something extraordinary. Are you ready to write the next chapter of your story with courage and resilience? Lesson 9. The Power of Persistence. Harnessing tenacity to overcome obstacles. Have you ever felt like giving up when faced with relentless challenges that seem insurmountable? Have you wondered why some people persist despite repeated failures, while others surrender at the first sign of difficulty? What if the key to success lies not in avoiding obstacles, but in embracing them with unwavering persistence? The Stoics believed that persistence is a fundamental virtue that enables us to turn obstacles into opportunities for growth and achievement. They taught that by cultivating tenacity, we can push through barriers and reach heights we never thought possible. So, how can we harness the power of persistence to overcome the obstacles in our path? The Stoics, both ancient and modern, emphasize the critical role of persistence in navigating life's challenges. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." This insight underscores the importance of consistent effort and determination in the face of adversity. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who famously conducted over 1,000 unsuccessful experiments before inventing the practical incandescent light bulb. Instead of viewing each failed attempt as a setback, he saw them as steps toward success, stating, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Like the Stoics, Edison understood that persistence transforms obstacles into stepping stones on the path to innovation. Persistence requires a deep-seated belief in the value of one's goals and the willingness to endure hardships to achieve them. The Stoics teach us that obstacles are not signals to stop, but invitations to persevere. Seneca advised, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." This means recognizing that challenges are inherent in any worthwhile endeavor, and that persistence is the vehicle that propels us forward. Modern Stoic philosopher Ryan Holiday echoes this sentiment, stating in his book The Obstacle is the Way, "Persist and resist." He emphasizes that persistence is not just about enduring, but actively working through difficulties with a steadfast spirit. In the realm of business, leaders who embody Stoic persistence often achieve remarkable success by refusing to be deterred by obstacles. Take the example of Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks. He faced numerous rejections when trying to secure funding to expand the coffee chain. Instead of giving up, he persisted, believing deeply in his vision. His tenacity paid off, transforming Starbucks into a global phenomenon with thousands of stores worldwide. The Stoics would commend this unwavering commitment, recognizing that persistence in the face of adversity is a hallmark of true leadership and success. But how do we cultivate persistence in our own lives? The Stoics suggest that it begins with a clear understanding of our goals and a commitment to pursue them despite challenges. Epictetus taught, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This involves setting clear intentions and preparing mentally for the obstacles that will inevitably arise. By anticipating difficulties, we are less likely to be derailed when they occur, and more equipped to respond with resilience. Persistence also involves self-discipline, the ability to stay focused on our objectives without being swayed by distractions or temporary setbacks. Furthermore, persistence is strengthened by maintaining a positive and proactive mindset. The Stoics encourage us to focus on what we can control, our actions and attitudes, rather than external circumstances. By directing our energy toward constructive efforts, we reinforce our determination to overcome obstacles. Modern psychology supports this approach, highlighting the role of a growth mindset in fostering persistence. Believing that our abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work increases our willingness to face challenges head-on. To harness the power of persistence in your daily life, start by identifying a goal that is important to you but has been challenging to achieve. Write down this goal in clear, specific terms. Next, outline the obstacles that have hindered your progress, acknowledging both external barriers and internal resistance. For each obstacle, develop a strategy to address it, focusing on actionable steps you can take. Commit to a daily practice of working toward your goal, no matter how small the steps may seem. Keep a journal to track your progress, noting not only your achievements, but also the challenges you overcome along the way. When you encounter setbacks, revisit your reasons for pursuing the goal and reaffirm your commitment. By consistently applying effort and adapting your strategies as needed, you cultivate persistence and move steadily toward success. Persistence is not just about enduring difficulties. It's about engaging with them actively and constructively. The Stoics teach that obstacles are an integral part of the journey, not deviations from it. By embracing this perspective, we transform our relationship with challenges, seeing them as opportunities to strengthen our resolve and develop our capabilities. Persistence becomes a source of empowerment, enabling us to achieve goals that once seemed out of reach. Moreover, cultivating persistence has a ripple effect, influencing those around us and contributing to a culture of resilience and determination. When we demonstrate unwavering commitment to our objectives, we inspire others to do the same. This collective persistence can drive teams, organizations, and communities to overcome significant challenges and achieve shared goals. The Stoics recognize the communal impact of individual virtues, understanding that personal excellence contributes to the greater good. In addition, persistence enhances our self-confidence and self-efficacy. Each time we push through an obstacle, we reinforce our belief in our ability to handle future challenges. This growing confidence fuels further persistence, creating a positive feedback loop that propels us forward. The Stoics would argue that this is the path to true self-mastery and fulfillment. It's important to acknowledge that persistence doesn't mean stubbornly sticking to a single approach when it's not working. The Stoics valued wisdom and adaptability, encouraging us to assess our strategies and make adjustments as needed. Persistence is about maintaining our commitment to the goal while being flexible in our methods. This combination of steadfastness and adaptability increases our chances of success and reduces unnecessary frustration. In our personal lives, persistence can help us overcome challenges in relationships, health, and personal development. Whether it's rebuilding trust, recovering from an injury, or learning a new skill, persistence enables us to move beyond setbacks and continue growing. The Stoics remind us that these efforts contribute to our character and overall well-being, reinforcing the intrinsic value of persistence. So, when faced with obstacles that test your resolve, ask yourself, how can I use this challenge to strengthen my persistence? What steps can I take today to move closer to my goal, despite the difficulties? Remember that each action, no matter how small, contributes to your progress. By embracing the Stoic virtue of persistence, you harness a powerful force that propels you toward success and personal fulfillment. The path of persistence is not always easy, but it is rewarding. It requires courage, discipline, and a deep commitment to our goals. The Stoics believed that these qualities are within each of us, waiting to be cultivated through practice and intentional effort. As we develop persistence, we not only achieve our objectives but also become stronger, more resilient individuals capable of facing whatever life brings. Are you ready to embrace the power of persistence and transform the obstacles in your path into opportunities for growth and success? The journey begins with a single step, taken with determination and confidence. Remember, as the Stoics teach, the obstacle is not in your way, it is the way. Let persistence be your guide as you navigate the challenges ahead, knowing that each obstacle overcome brings you closer to realizing your full potential. By integrating the wisdom of the Stoics into our lives, we unlock the ability to persevere through hardships and achieve greatness. Persistence becomes more than just a strategy. It becomes a way of life that empowers us to face adversity with grace and strength. As we continue on this path, we not only transform ourselves, but also inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of resilience and determination in the world around us. So the next time you encounter a hurdle, remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes, the obstacle to our acting. With this mindset, obstacles become catalysts for innovation and growth, fueling our journey toward success. Embrace persistence and let it illuminate the path ahead, turning every obstacle into an opportunity. Lesson 10. The Legacy of Obstacles. Crafting your path through adversity. Have you ever contemplated the possibility that the very challenges you face are molding you into the person you're meant to become? Have you considered that life's hurdles are not hindrances but essential steps in your personal evolution? What if embracing every obstacle could unlock your fullest potential and lead you to unprecedented fulfillment? The Stoics believed that life's adversities are not just random occurrences but deliberate opportunities for growth and self-discovery. They taught that by consciously engaging with our challenges, we craft our own legacy through adversity. So, how can we harness the transformative power of obstacles to shape our destiny and leave a lasting impact on the world? The Stoics, both ancient sages and modern philosophers, emphasize that our legacy is built not in spite of obstacles, but because of them. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This profound statement urges us to take action in the face of difficulties, using obstacles as catalysts for embodying our highest values. Consider the journey of Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years of imprisonment, yet emerged not with bitterness, but with a vision for reconciliation and unity. His obstacles forged his legacy, transforming personal hardship into a beacon of hope for millions. Like the Stoics, Mandela understood that adversity is not a detour but the path itself toward greatness. Embracing obstacles requires a paradigm shift in how we perceive life's challenges and our role within them. The Stoics teach us that we are not passive victims of fate, but active participants in shaping our own narratives. Epictetus, who rose from slavery to become a renowned teacher, declared, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This means recognizing that our responses to obstacles define us more than the obstacles themselves. Modern Stoic philosopher Massimo Pigliucci echoes this sentiment, stating that character is a matter of hard work, forged through facing life's challenges head-on. By viewing obstacles as opportunities to cultivate virtue and resilience, we take control of our personal development and legacy. In the business world, leaders who have embraced obstacles as stepping stones have left indelible marks on their industries. Take the story of Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, who faced multiple near bankruptcies and countless naysayers. Instead of succumbing to these pressures, he persisted, using each setback as fuel to innovate and push boundaries. His obstacles became the driving force behind revolutionary advancements in electric vehicles and space exploration. The Stoics would commend this approach, seeing it as a practical application of their teachings on turning adversity into advantage. Musk himself has cited Stoic principles as influential in his approach to overcoming challenges, and achieving his visionary goals. Crafting your legacy through adversity involves intentional action and a commitment to personal growth. The Stoics advise us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, while accepting what we cannot. Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This suggests that by preparing ourselves through self-improvement and resilience, we are ready to seize opportunities that arise from obstacles. Modern psychology supports this, highlighting the concept of post-traumatic growth, where individuals achieve higher levels of functioning following adversity. By proactively engaging with challenges, we position ourselves to create meaningful and lasting contributions to the world. To begin crafting your legacy through obstacles, start by identifying a significant challenge you're currently facing or have faced in the past. Reflect deeply on how this obstacle has impacted you and what lessons it offers. Write a personal mission statement that incorporates these lessons and outlines how you will use them to contribute positively to your life and the lives of others. For example, if you've overcome a health crisis, your mission might be to promote wellness and support others facing similar struggles. Next, set specific, actionable goals aligned with this mission and develop a plan to achieve them. This could involve volunteering, pursuing further education, or launching a project. By transforming your obstacles into a purposeful mission, you actively shape your legacy through adversity. The process of crafting your legacy is ongoing and evolves as you continue to face and overcome new obstacles. The Stoics teach that life is a series of challenges that, when embraced, refine our character and deepen our impact. Embracing this journey requires humility, recognizing that we are always in the process of becoming. It also demands courage to face uncertainties and the unknown. As we engage with our obstacles, we not only grow personally, but also inspire others through our example. This ripple effect amplifies our legacy, extending our influence beyond ourselves. Furthermore, the Stoics highlight the importance of community and interconnectedness in crafting our legacy. Marcus Aurelius observed, "What injures the hive injures the bee." This reminds us that our actions have broader implications for society and that contributing to the common good enhances our personal fulfillment. Modern leaders like Malala Yousafzai have demonstrated this principle by turning personal adversity into global advocacy for education and women's rights. Her legacy is a testament to how overcoming obstacles can lead to profound societal change. Cultivating gratitude is another essential aspect of embracing obstacles as part of our legacy. The Stoics encourage us to appreciate the lessons and growth that challenges bring. Epictetus advised, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." By focusing on the gains derived from adversity, we maintain a positive outlook that fuels continued progress. Gratitude shifts our perspective from one of lack to one of abundance, recognizing the wealth of experience and wisdom we accumulate through life's trials. In addition, embracing obstacles enhances our resilience and adaptability, essential qualities in an ever-changing world. The Stoics understood that the only constant is change, and that flexibility in the face of uncertainty is crucial. By viewing obstacles as opportunities to develop these traits, we become better equipped to navigate future challenges. This adaptability not only benefits us personally, but also positions us to lead and support others through change. Mentorship and sharing our experiences are powerful ways to extend our legacy and help others on their journeys. The Stoics believed in the transmission of wisdom through teaching and dialogue. By openly discussing the obstacles we've faced and the insights gained, we provide guidance and encouragement to those who may be encountering similar challenges. This collaborative approach enriches our relationships and fosters a supportive community. Moreover, the act of overcoming obstacles often uncovers hidden talents and passions, guiding us toward our true purpose. The Stoics teach that self-knowledge is a key component of a virtuous life. As we confront and navigate difficulties, we learn more about our strengths, values, and what truly matters to us. This clarity informs our decisions and aligns our actions with our authentic selves, enhancing the integrity of our legacy. Embracing obstacles also requires us to confront and overcome fear. The Stoics recognize that fear is a natural emotion, but cautioned against allowing it to paralyze us. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." By facing our fears, we diminish their power and expand our comfort zones. This bravery not only propels us forward, but also inspires others to confront their own fears. The Stoics would argue that the true measure of success lies not in external achievements but in the development of character and virtue through overcoming obstacles. By this standard, every challenge is an opportunity to succeed, regardless of the outcome. This perspective frees us from the fear of failure and encourages us to take bold actions aligned with our values. As we continue to navigate life's complexities, it's important to cultivate self-compassion along with perseverance. The Stoics recognize that we are imperfect beings striving toward excellence. Embracing obstacles includes acknowledging our mistakes and treating ourselves with kindness. This approach fosters resilience and prevents discouragement from derailing our progress. In conclusion, crafting your legacy through adversity is a deliberate and empowering process. The Stoics provide a timeless framework for transforming obstacles into opportunities for personal growth and meaningful contribution. By embracing challenges, cultivating virtues, and aligning our actions with our highest values, we shape a legacy that reflects our true selves and impacts the world positively. So, how will you begin to craft your legacy through the obstacles you face? Will you choose to see each challenge as a stepping stone toward your highest potential? Remember, the obstacle is not just on your path, it is your path. By embracing this truth, you unlock the power to shape your destiny and leave a lasting impact on the world. The journey may be demanding, but the rewards are profound. As you reflect on this final lesson, consider the words of modern Stoic philosopher William Irvine. The Stoics' advice is simple. We should welcome rather than dread whatever challenges fate may throw at us. With this mindset, you are equipped to face any obstacle with confidence and grace. Your legacy awaits, crafted not in spite of obstacles but because of them. Are you ready to step boldly into your journey and embrace the obstacles as the way forward?